If you have just started a business or a side project, but you're feeling shame because you're not as far along as you thought, I need you to watch this video because you're actually a lot further along than you think. It's your perspective that's making you believe that you are behind. In this video, I'm going to share with you the perspective shifts that took me from feeling anxious about my future to having complete certainty and trust in my path and dreams without anything external changing or proving that sense of safety and security to me. And it's through first understanding why you feel behind, changing the story you tell yourself, which includes that growth is exponential, focusing on the journey over the destination, focusing on internal growth rather than external growth, and asking yourself better questions. By the end of this video, you will feel completely confident in your path, free from the fear, and finally able to enjoy the journey of chasing your dream. Before we can shift your perspective, we first need to understand why you're feeling behind. If you've been working on this business or project for quite a long time and you're just not seeing results in the work that you're doing and you're starting to think, oh my God, like there must be something wrong with me. Why am I not seeing results yet? People are so much further along than me. I need you to know that there is nothing wrong with you. It's just that your expectations of how life works and how life is meant to reward you in terms of the hard work you put in just isn't matching your expectations in reality, where you're going for something completely different that isn't a normal path. And because you're not getting that instant gratification of how you would expect to be rewarded in, let's say, a company where you spend a certain amount of time there, you get ranked up into a higher position. If you're putting those same amount of hours in your business and you're not seeing anything return on that yet, you're going to start to think that there's something wrong with you. And the reality is that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you don't know any different and haven't been taught how to think when stepping into something that has no blueprint or clear path of how you're meant to progress. And of course, this is going to make you tell yourself a crazy story every day of how you're not good enough, how everyone else has something special that you don't. And this story becomes your narrative that you believe and then take into your business. Something that I learned when I first started freelancing in my marketing business was how important it is that you pay attention to the story you're telling yourself. And if it doesn't serve you, it's negative, it's gotta go. How I started to change my story in my business when I was feeling like this was focusing on, okay, the people that are getting the results that I want to get, what's the story that they're telling themselves? And when I dug deeper into this, I was like, oh my gosh, the way they are looking at this is the complete opposite of how I'm looking at this. And this allowed me to see what was actually true and what to actually expect when in the unknown, which allowed me to tell myself a better story. And this brings me to my first shift, which is that growth is exponential, not linear. Society has programmed us to believe that life unfolds like a staircase in steps and that growth is linear. You progress from grade 1 to grade 2, you put in hard work, you get good grades, you move up in ranks of jobs over years of time, you start as an intern, then become the specialist, then you become the manager, and it goes on and on. So over time, you expect results in a linear fashion, when in actual fact, that's not how life works. Especially when you step outside these systems to pursue something that doesn't necessarily have a framework or a system that you can compare yourself to and say, yep, I'm on track. When I first started my freelancing business and I was really struggling to get clients, I had a mentor of mine at the time who I confided in and said, look, like I'm doing all these things to try and get clients and I just really can't get them. What am I doing wrong? And he introduced me to this game-changing graph called the graph of life, and it blew my mind. And you'll see here in this blue line exactly what I was talking about as a representation of how we think life works, when in actual fact, how growth actually is more like the red line. And when he educated me on this graph, he said, Jess, all this work that you're doing, even though you're not getting immediate results right away, one day it's just going to do this. He said, you just have to stick with the work long enough to experience the upside of this. And I realized something within all of the invisible work that I was doing, which I was seeing no results for, was that I was actually building my skills. All of the sales calls that I jumped on with clients, all of the conversations I was having was allowing me to build the skill set of actually acquiring clients. I remember I had no clients for like 6 months, and then my first 2 came within the week. This goes to show that life doesn't unfold like that blue line in the graph. It goes to show that your actions over time compound, which allow it to look more like the red line, where the work that you're doing for so long feels like nothing's happening, but then one day it just takes off and you look like an overnight success. My favorite analogy for all of this is the Chinese bamboo tree. This tree, after you plant the seed, for 4 years stays underground. 4 years. And in its 5th year, it shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Do you think that this plant was just doing nothing for 4 years? No, it was building its root system strong enough to support its explosive growth in year 5. So in understanding all of this, when taking action in your business and not seeing these immediate results, it allows you to breathe and free yourself because you're actually doing everything right. It's just that life's not meant to unfold the way that you think it does. Another shift that I had to make for myself in my business was that I had to stop focusing on the destination and had to start focusing on the journey. Focusing on getting to this goal that I set for myself made me feel so far behind because all I could think about was how big the gap was between where I was and where I wanted to be. This put me operating from a constant state of survival, and chasing my dreams didn't actually become about chasing my dreams, it became about how quick I could get there. And guess what this led to? Burnout, sleepless nights, hating the process, and developing an anxiety that I've never had before. And it got me thinking, I'd say 99% of this ride in getting towards my dreams, 99% of it is the journey. 1% is only the destination. So why the hell am I not enjoying it? And I swear, once you switch to enjoying the journey and forgetting about the destination, you will start to feel so much happier and you'll feel so much further ahead and won't feel behind. And this is by me all means not saying that you shouldn't have an end goal. You definitely should. But once your sense of worthiness and success becomes dependent upon achieving this goal, that's when it becomes so problematic, because you cannot control when that goal materializes. You can only control your inputs. You will never be free if you are just attached to this destination, and the journey to achieving these goals will just feel like a race against time. And even when you get to this destination, the feelings are so short-lived. Have you ever noticed this pattern in when you want something really bad, then you get it, and then the excitement and feelings of joy just wear off so quickly? For example, when I got this Coach bag, don't get me wrong, absolutely love it, it's my baby. But after 2 weeks or so, the excitement wore off and now I'm just used to it. And this is the same as when you reach the destination. You feel good in the moment and it lasts some time, but then the goalpost moves and you want the next shiny object, you want the next big thing, and it just keeps going on and on. And you continue this loop of just constantly feeling behind. So instead of focusing on how quickly can I achieve my goals, it's better to focus on how can I become the best at what I'm doing? How can I absolutely fall in love with what I'm doing and fall in love with the process? Focus on seeing the small wins in the actions that you are taking day in and day out, and I can promise you, you won't feel behind another day in your life again. In fact, you will recreate these same feelings in the now that you think that the destination is going to give you. So in going after your dreams, set your goal, set your endpoint, but then focus on the journey and how can you provide as much value to what you're doing and be the best at what you're doing, and then you'll actually love and enjoy the process, which will then bring your destination closer to you quicker. Another shift that I had to make that goes completely hand in hand with focusing on the journey and not the destination is that you have to completely detach from everything external. External growth is just a byproduct of your internal growth, and focusing just on the external growth is what's causing you to have these feelings of constantly feeling behind. When I was trying to grow my Instagram account in my business, my emotions and moods were just swayed and all over the shop because I was so attached to the external results I was getting. I realized that the patterns in people that have what I wanted to have was just that they were consistent. Their moods and emotions were not swayed by the results that they were achieving. And it doesn't even make sense to make these markers of success because they are completely unpredictable in the nature of how they come. You can't control them, and they aren't a true reflection of how far along in your journey you actually are. And I know you're probably thinking, how do I view these external things? And just like with the destination, you still set these external markers, but you don't become attached to them. You look at them with gratitude, you celebrate them, of course, but instead you want to define your markers of success as things that you can control. For example, showing up when you didn't feel like it, posting that piece of content even when you're scared, sticking to your daily plan, making decisions from courage and not fear. Because getting absolutely obsessed with your inputs and internal growth is what attracts everything external. After unraveling all of these different new perspectives, I come to the realization the story I was telling myself had no truth to it. And if I wanted to create this new story that served me and allowed me to achieve my goals, I had to start asking better questions. The first question that I asked myself was, does it even make sense to feel ahead in the current point I'm at in my business right now? Half the time we are judging ourselves and comparing ourselves to where everyone else is in their journey, but we're not even bringing logic to where we're at. I think I was like 1 month into my freelancing business. And I remember being in this group chat full of other marketers, and the results that they were getting for their clients, I was just judging myself. I was not getting results like this. And I felt like, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't have what they have. They're so much smarter than me. And now looking back, I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to feel ahead of where I was at. I'd only been doing it for like a month. So where you're at in your journey, if you're feeling behind, ask yourself, does it even make sense to feel ahead? It's just that you're not allowing yourself to be a beginner. And the longer you prolong that and not allow yourself to be a beginner, the longer you're just going to sabotage your own success, because you're just going to be focused on how can I do this perfect rather than learning from your mistakes. So in asking myself a question like this that got me thinking, I was able to step back emotionally and look at it logically and for what it is and come up with a plan around that. So if you're having all these negative feelings in and around your business, rather than accepting it as truth, start to ask yourself better questions like these. Here is a list on the screen of some other questions that are great to ask yourself the next time that you are having these feelings. And that, guys, brings us to the end of my first ever video. I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and I hope you walk away feeling completely confident in your dreams, in your path, free from all this fear you may be feeling right now, and finally able to enjoy the journey of chasing your dreams. Give this video a like, let me know your thoughts around this topic, and subscribe if you want more content of me inspiring you to follow your dreams. Check out the description below for all of my social links, and I'll see you on the next one.